Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch is a strategic RPG with roguelike elements. This game came out in early access on Steam back in 2024, but now it's getting a full release. The release version of the game is also coming out on PS5, Xbox and Switch. All of these platforms offer a free demo for the game, and the best part about that is that your progress transfers to the full game if you end up getting it. I had a chance to play the full version of the game a bit earlier, and I'm going to showcase all major features, so you know exactly what you're getting out of this RPG if you decide to buy it.
Poor thing. Lost your memories, have you?
This is a sponsored video by Ocean Drive Studio, so huge thanks to them for reaching out to the channel and sponsoring this video. If you guys end up liking what you see and you decide to buy this game, please use my link in the video description or in the pinned comment so the developers know that you came straight from this video. Now let's talk about the game.
So, are we engaged now?
The protagonist of the game is called Ash, and you can choose to be a male or a female. You can also name your character if you wish, but everyone will refer to him as Ash. Speaking of naming characters, all characters in your party can be renamed as well. Ash is stranded on a mysterious island, and his only way to survive is to team up with some allies and kill everyone in his path. The game begins with a dialogue between Ash and Witch of the Mists, also known as Sable. Sable tells him that he is on the crossroads of life and death, and he needs to become her champion by destroying all of her enemies. In exchange, Ash will get tremendous power and regain his lost memories. Ash starts regaining his memories piece by piece as you progress through the game, and you get to relive some of these past moments. Shortly after you begin the game, you'll meet 4 characters that will join your party. Later on, you can unlock more characters and get more options to build a unique party. All of these characters have a unique class, personalities and background stories. When you're not fighting, you can talk with your party and get to know them better.
Why are you here again? This place doesn't seem suited to a scholar.
On the contrary, it was the pursuit of knowledge that brought me to this rustic backwater.
There is a system that keeps the track of your relationship status with them, and this is affected by some of the choices you make. You'll get to make some of these choices every now and then, usually when you're resting at the camp between the fights or before you start an expedition. A large majority of dialogue is voice acted, especially those important story parts. There is a lot of humor within the story and some silly characters and dialogue interactions. For example, Raven is a jerk and only Ash is able to communicate with him.
Indeed I did, child of man.
Alright, I know I've lost my memories, but I feel like I'd remember if birds could talk.
Speaking of Raven, this bird also gives you some very important items called relics, which will heavily affect your gameplay in various ways. Those items can give you some positive and negative effects. The story in Veil of the Witch is deeply intertwined with the roguelike nature of the game. This means that the story pushes forward even after you die, and you will get more dialogue scenarios with main characters and unlock more gameplay features. Even some enemies you get to face are fully aware of this life and death cycle in the world.
I'll be back for you both.
Bernhardt will bury the lot of you. I'll already be back.
There's a lot of mystery around the main story and the game in general, and you'll learn more about everything as you progress. Veil of the Witch has randomized paths, which makes sure that each expedition is a little bit different. You'll get new locations and different paths to choose at the crossroads. The crossroads will have various options, like more dialogue between characters or even some mini events that can happen. Those events can even require you to make a small decision about something which affects your affinity with other party members. You can rest and recover your lost HP, find something to loot, and choose what to do next. As with most roguelikes, you can see what you can expect from the next area you enter by just looking at the icon above it. And at the end of each map, there is a powerful boss waiting for you. The main story is told through 4 chapters in total. The last thing you should know about the story is that everything can be skipped if you only want to focus on the gameplay and combats.
Why are you two so calm about this?
Well, it's not every day one dies, is it?
Now let's talk about the gameplay and the combat itself.
An end to your suffering.
Am I up?
Go for the head!
Taste my steel.
Veil of the Witch features a strategic turn-based combat focused on positioning, elemental affinities, weapon triangle system with weak points and squad synergy. You have to wait for your turn so you can issue commands to each and every party member, which is something you would expect from a strategic turn-based RPG. The positioning is quite possibly the most important part of this strategic turn-based combat. When it's your turn to issue commands to your party members, you should always move them first and then choose an action for them. That's because the moment you choose an action like casting a spell or using an ability, you won't be able to move anymore. The combat encounters start off pretty easy, but you won't have to wait for long until you encounter something challenging. Stronger enemy units have more than a few sides from which you can attack them. This is indicated by the icon you see on the floor. For example, if you see the X icon, that means that your X attacks from Marco are going to be the most effective if you attack the enemy from that particular side. Same goes for the bow, sword and spell attacks, all of that is indicated with different icons. So you need to position your characters accordingly in order to maximize your damage outputs. This can be harder than it sounds sometimes because of the terrain and other NPCs. The terrain can give you some troubles or an advantage, depending on the map. I had to constantly move on one map in order to avoid being poisoned or drowned in a river. Some of the skills that your melee classes can use also require you to be careful with the positioning. Normal melee attacks have a better reach, but those special stronger skills require you to be much closer to the enemy. I didn't have a lot of troubles with these encounters at first, until I hit my first brick wall. You should know that you have a rollback system which allows you to correct your mistakes. This will prevent you from ending the expedition, so you really need to make it count. You only get 3 rollbacks per expedition, and it's up to you how far back you want to take them. Without this feature, I would probably die against the second campaign boss, which left me grasping at straws. Seriously, I was desperately trying to keep my party alive, and I used all available rollbacks in order to beat him. I always ended up with only one of my characters alive, but I somehow got it done at the end, which felt really satisfying and rewarding. It would feel even better if I didn't have to use those rollbacks, but still. Some other enemies gave me some problems as well, but this was the first fight which felt much more challenging than anything I faced before. Your main goal in these fights is usually to kill everyone on the map. Usually. However, the game can have some other objectives like opening up some chests, killing a boss, or even escaping from the map. And as you keep playing, you'll discover even more objectives like having to save someone, join some NPCs and help them out, or just decide to kill them all. This will depend on the choices you make, even in the middle of the combats. For example, I had a situation where I could continue fighting or try to escape by having at least 3 of my characters reach a certain point on the map. Sometimes I just decide to kill everyone on the map if I think I can handle them, depending on the health of my party. Speaking of which, you really have to make sure to rest at the camp whenever you can. I made a crucial mistake a couple of times by just going to another area and forgetting to rest, only to get crushed in the next fight because my party had low health at the very beginning of the battle. Some of these classes can use healing spells, but that wasn't enough to survive when you start with a huge penalty. So yeah, make sure to rest at the camp whenever you can. Speaking of classes, your character Ash starts off as a vagabond class, but later on you can change this if you want. You can choose to be one of 9 different classes, but first you need to increase the relationship status with your party members. Each of these classes have 2 weapon types that you can use and different abilities. For example, the Vagabond class that Ash starts off with has a greatsword and a bow, Marco has a battle axe, he also has a spear and a shield, and so on. Each class with a shield can enter a defensive mode, which saved my life more than a couple of times. Evie has healing spells, spear and a shield as her secondary weapon type. It's a great combination for a character that can save your life and defend herself properly at the same time. But you will have to make a lot of compromises in fights because you can't heal someone and then switch to a shield to defend yourself. This is obviously done for strategic reasons, so you have to carefully choose your moves in every fight. The second biggest factor in combat is the progression system, which is responsible for getting new abilities and spells for your characters. While the weapons are preset for all the classes, their abilities and spells are not. The progression system of all characters will depend on the roguelike elements. As the fight continues, all of your party members will slowly gain mastery levels. Upon reaching a new mastery level, you will get to choose a new passive or an active ability. These abilities are color-coded, which indicates their quality. They can be as simple as increasing some of your stats or giving you a brand new ability for the class that just leveled up. It was pretty fun to see what kind of abilities these classes can get upon leveling up. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, because you can get a pretty big list of abilities to use and I just couldn't decide. I just usually stick with whatever worked the best in the past, but I did experiment with new spells a little bit. For example, the Smoke Bomb and Conceal spell for the Mercenary class allow me to kill the second big boss. The Mercenary class has some other cool abilities that I used very often, like the one called Formation Break. This skill allows you to switch places with one of the enemies on the map, and you immediately enter stealth as well. Overall, it seems like there was more than enough of these spells for all classes.
The might of magic!
Miscreant.
All of the skills go on cooldown upon using them, and you can see the amount of turns needed until you get to use them again. Now of course, some of the strongest abilities will have a much longer cooldown, like the Firestorm spell for example. The environment you're fighting in also plays a role in combat. For example, if enemies are drenched, your lighting spell will do more damage, while the fire spells will deal less damage. Now of course, this goes both ways, your enemies can get these benefits and penalties, as well as your characters. By the way, if you fail or complete an expedition, your mastery level resets for all the characters. This means that you will lose all the extra skills you got from leveling up their masteries. You will always start a new expedition with only a couple of skills for each class. However, Veil of the Witch has persistent upgrades which carry over from each session into your next expedition. You have these 3 skill trees where you can get various upgrades for your party. Besides that, you will get some special items to improve the gear that your party wears, which will increase their stats. And that will be everything you need to know about Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch.
So, are we engaged now?
I never played a strategic RPG with roguelike elements before, I didn't even know that kind of a game exists. If you like strategic RPGs and all of this sounds interesting to you, or you already know about the game but you were waiting for the early access to end, well, now it's a perfect time to check it out. Be sure to use my link in the video description or in the pinned comment so the developers know that you came straight from this video. Once again, huge thanks to Ocean Drive Studio for reaching out to the channel and sponsoring this video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider supporting your boy by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon. Huge thanks to all my current supporters, and I'll see ya in the next one.